Beauty fades, dumb is forever. I want you to think about that. Think about it. Just think about what it means. It means you can make this as pretty as you like. It's up here that what's going to stay with you forever.
Lovers dreaming of forever. Seems like it's better. None but the radio. Feel the music playing soft and slow. You and me are the lifestyle love. But the radio. Me and the lifestyle love. Nothing on but the radio.
Who are you gonna call?
Radio.
Ghostbusters.
Who would you call? Call somebody.
You want me to call someone?
Who'd you call?
Oh yeah? You want me to call someone?
Call Matt.
How about
Is it working?
Dad?
Is it working? Yeah.
How about Dad?
Did you get that? She just dropped the phone right on her face. Are you okay?
Thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more amazing, entertaining, delightful, great disciple content. Tell me where the freak's at. Hold up. Hey.
Illusionist Joel Donner is suing his former assistant Amanda Christie in the amount of $600 after he says she made repeated errors during a performance and caused him to lose a job.
Mr. Donner, you are suing Miss Christie for $600, and you're suing her because you say she caused you to lose a gig you had.
That's correct, Your Honor.
What kind of gig was it?
I'm a professional magician.
You're a magician.
And we had a gig at a
Who's
dinner
we?
theater. She was my assistant. I had hired her.
Okay. How long have you been his assistant, ma'am?
3 months.
3 months. Okay. And so, what type of magician are you? Are there different types of magicians?
Sleight of hand tricks, things like that. We don't do big, giant stage shows.
What do you
but a
use
lot
her to do? Cut her in half and stuff like that?
No, she helps to hand off some of the props. There's some things that she also does to distract the audience while the illusions are happening.
How long have you been a magician?
For 15 years.
Oh, okay. So, your relationship, your working relationship was a good relationship?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay. So, what happened? How did she cause you to lose a gig?
Well, we had been working
And
at
you
this
make
dinner theater.
$600 a gig?
It's $200 a gig. And we were booked for an entire month. Your Honor, I have the notice from the dinner theater for the month that we were booked for.
So that's each week? Isn't that 4 weeks?
It was 4 weeks,
Right.
2 shows. We had them on both Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, so what were you making per show?
It was $200 per show.
Okay,
And then I was paying her $50 per show.
okay.
So I'm suing.
How long is a show? An hour?
Show's about an hour and a half.
That's a long time to sit and watch a
Well,
magician.
it's a dinner theater, so people are
okay.
people are eating, people are drinking.
Okay, so then what happened this particular night?
This particular night, just before we went on, I was speaking to Amanda, and she seemed a little bit loopy to me. She was slurring her words, and it turns
What
out
was she
that
saying?
just anything she spoke, she was just a little bit slurred. She wasn't really focused. She was a little hazy.
Right. What was
So-
wrong with you, Amanda?
I thought I was fine. You know, I accidentally had a drink.
How do you accidentally have a drink, Amanda?
No, okay. Well,
Okay, no, what,
I
tell
was on Xanax. I took a Xanax because there was a bad earthquake, and I was a little freaked out by it. And then when we were at the dinner, they were like, "Oh, have a drink." And then I had forgotten that I took the Xanax, and when I took the drink, it made me a little loopy, but I was still great at doing my job.
Okay, did you trying to convince him or me? Because you don't have to convince him of anything. Okay, so when you said accidentally, you're saying you would have had that drink anyway, but for the fact that you had a Xanax, you wouldn't have had the drink.
Exactly.
Okay. So what happened? So she's slurring her
So
speech?
she was a little bit off, but it was too late for me to change the lineup of the tricks.
Right.
I was committed to the tricks that we had set
Right.
for the show.
What was the first trick?
The first thing that went wrong, she I've got a card trick where she brings the cards to the audience and they pick a card out.
Okay.
She puts it in a specific spot in the deck.
Okay.
And then brings it to me. And in that handoff, she drops the deck.
Okay.
And the cards are all over the place. So, of course, when I go to do the trick...
Oh, that wasn't part of the show to drop the deck?
No,
I
that
thought
was
you were
not
telling
part
me
of the
how
show.
it was supposed to go.
Oh, how it's supposed to go.
So
is
it wasn't supposed to go like that?
No.
So you dropped the cards?
Yeah, in passing it, I accidentally dropped it. But I think what went wrong was afterwards, he just freaked out. And for the whole rest of the show, he just kept, you know, he still had it in his head. And he
Well,
was
in the
very
3 months that you've worked for him, have you ever had this happen?
No.
This was the first time that it ever happened?
First mistake, and he just goes off on that.
Okay, so what happened when all those cards fell on the floor?
Well, I tried to recover from the trick, but I was not able to do it right.
The audience,
and
didn't laugh?
No, the audience was actually kind of upset because the trick didn't work. So then they started to think, I don't know what I'm doing.
How do you know what the audience was thinking? Did you ask them what they were thinking?
Actually, Your Honor, I have cards from the audience that was responding to the show that night.
Right.
And one of them here talks about how they'd heard what a great show it was, and then they came that night, and the audience was upset.
Yeah, but you didn't know at that moment what the audience was thinking.
I mean, they were booing, so I knew that they weren't too
Okay, so
happy
they
with the
booed
result
you
of
from
the
the
trick.
moment the cards fell on the floor.
From the moment, well, after we picked the cards back up, I still tried to do the trick.
Right. You
But
should have been
because
able to
the
play
cards
that
were out
off.
of
You should have
order.
played that off with the cards falling down. Something. I don't know. And then let it do it again. But anyway, so
But
there were some other things that went
It
wrong.
continued, yeah. There's
What
another
else went
trick.
wrong?
Another trick where the audience, we take an object from the audience.
Okay, like
And,
what?
A
Anything?
watch, a cell phone. That night it was a watch.
Okay.
And
You asked her to take an object from an audience member?
no, what happens in that particular trick, there's some things that I have to do to make the watch disappear.
Uh-huh.
And what she's supposed to do is look pretty and distract the audience.
What is she supposed
So,
what
but I have
what is
cues
she
that-
supposed to do to distract
Well, I can't
them?
reveal too much about the trick
Well,
itself.
You're
It's
going to have
trade
to reveal
secrets, Your
something
Honor.
about what she was supposed to do to distract the audience.
Well, I had a line that we had agreed upon
Right.
was her cue
To
get in front of me and cover up what I'm doing so that the
Oh,
audience is
I
watching
see.
her and not
And you
watching
gave her
me.
the cue and?
I gave her the cue 3 times and she didn't pick up the cue at all.
And so that ruined...
The show was starting to drag out. I had to continue with the trick. Audience saw some of what I was doing. I mean, there wasn't too much I could do. I was up there by myself doing
Right.
a bunch of tricks that I'd planned to do
Right.
with both of us.
But don't you think you could have been a little responsible for this night not going the way it should have gone?
I think just the cards falling, okay, that was a small issue. But
What
then-
about the watch?
I think for the watch, I think he just took it way, way too seriously.
I gave
Okay.
the cue.
So what happened? You lost the gig?
Immediately at the end of that night, Dean, who owned the dinner theater, came
He
over
said,
and said,
"Don't
look,
want you there
don't
anymore?"
come back. You're not doing the next 4 shows that I
So
hired
did
you
you
for."
have a contract to do the 4 shows?
It was a contract for 4 shows.
Let me see the contract.
This was the agreement.
And this was your only gig for the week?
It was my biggest gig. It was an area that I'm trying to kind of break into, the dinner theater circuit there.
This is not a contract. This is an email.
Well, that was the
not
agreement
even-
from them to book the entire month, Your Honor.
We're offering you a 4-weekend deal at $200 a performance. Let us know if this offer is right for you and you are able to perform. Contact us if you're interested. Okay, so this was the agreement. I'll accept this as an agreement that you were going to perform 4 weekends. So now let me see what they sent you telling you you were no longer needed. Your services were no longer required.
It was on the spot, Your Honor. That night, he just pulled me aside and said, look, we don't need you to come back. The audience was not happy tonight, and we can't take this chance again.
What did you do to minimize your damages?
And at that point, I tried to talk to Dean. I tried to offer
No,
him.
no, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying, what did you do? Did you say, I have somebody that can replace her tomorrow?
Well, I had offered to do. I also have a solo act that I don't use an assistant. I had offered to substitute that, and he just wasn't interested. And I
Right.
didn't have time to get another assistant ready to go for the next weekend. We had worked together practicing for
Right, you don't need to
quite a while
practice what she
beforehand.
was doing. It does require a lot of practice.
I mean, there's cues, there's timing.
Right.
There's some
Yeah,
skill,
yeah,
and that's
and
why
whose
when
costumes was she wearing? Was she wearing her own costumes?
Yes, she has just some pretty dresses that she wears.
You said earlier that the audience wasn't happy, and you knew they weren't happy. Why?
Well, I have comment cards that show what the audience had to say, Your Honor.
Do you have any audience members here?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, well then I cannot accept those cards because that's hearsay evidence. Those are statements, out-of-court statements that you're trying to introduce in court, right?
Yes,
so
Your
that's
Honor.
hearsay and it's not admissible. Anyway, what the audience felt is irrelevant. You're basically saying the owner of the dinner theater fired you because of what this lady did. Okay, I think I'm ready to rule. Involuntary intoxication is a defense to a tort. But I don't think you were involuntarily intoxicated. I think you were voluntarily intoxicated because you actually took a pill on your own. And then you decided to drink after that. I don't know what your state of mind was. You tell me you weren't thinking, but you seem to remember a whole lot about what went on that night. I believe him that he's an accountant and he does this. He has a reputation for it. He could have been doing it for 15 years, still doing it, if that weren't true. Therefore, I believe you are liable to the plaintiff in the amount of $600. Good luck to you.
All rise.